Hi guys, so today I want to do a video on emotional regulation and self-harm. So when we look at mindfulness in a general sense, it can be really useful for going through the process of elimination on how you're actually feeling, how you're talking to yourself, and those kinds of things, right? So, I mean, if you look at statistics in Australia, for instance, self-harm is actually the biggest impact on young people when it comes to suicide. The numbers are astronomical, and it's very sad, very, very sad. And it's something that we really do need to address. Obviously, we look at mental health, we look at addiction, and they can sometimes play hand in hand in suicide. But I think that it's definitely important to look at how that person is thinking at the time. Are they looking at their emotions? Have they analysed what kind of supports they have in their life? Do they have any kind of networks that they can reach out to? Are they getting that information? Is somebody, in their lives giving them the right information? Because sometimes, there's a bug flying around my face, because sometimes we're more inclined to say, I don't want to hear about it, because it makes us upset, it makes us angry when we hear somebody who we care about talk in that kind of way. Or sometimes we can say, it's okay, just move forward, just get over it, just think in the now, or just think in tomorrow, think about the future. I think it's important to kind of analyze the factors of time. I mean, a year ago, I never would have been able to do this. I never would have been able to get on this camera and record and talk to you guys. And do you know why? Because I would have had an anxiety attack probably while recording. And I never would have thought that in 1 year, I could have applied so much to my life and so much meaning and importance by actually talking to myself in a much nicer and kinder way, and not being so judgmental to myself. I still struggle with putting myself down and guilt and things like that, and shame, and I think that pretty much everybody does, but it just depends on what you feed, what you let take control of your life, your mind, and actually apply to your life as well. So when we look at emotional regulation, we're looking at going through the emotions and kind of analyzing what's factual, what's relevant, what you can do about it. So you go into problem-solving strategies. So you're more looking at what the feelings are. So are you feeling overwhelmed? And if you're feeling overwhelmed, what comes into feeling overwhelmed? Is that sadness? Is that anger? Is that anxiety? Is it turbulence to your life? Like, you need to name them, because in the end, we don't actually know what we're dealing with if we're just focusing on the end result. That's like saying, that scientists come up with things and all that matters is the fact that they did it. What matters is really the way that they did it, so that other people can then come and copy that or use that to create something better, because we're always growing and we're always changing, right? So I think it's really important to look at what's going on underneath the surface and figure out the feelings that are coming up, the emotions that are coming up, and the needs that aren't being met. Because when it comes to feeling like there's no results, there's no answers, there's nothing for you here, we do need to really look at why is that coming up. Is there something that's happened? Is it trauma related? Is it needs related? Is it needs, is it one of the needs is belonging? So do you feel like an outcast? Are there problems with you know, your networks and things like that? Do you have people who can support you? You know, it's always great to analyze where that's coming from, what that looks like, and how you can imagine that your life could possibly be, you know, if you actually gave yourself a chance to succeed. Because I know that when we're feeling very unhappy in our lives, we often tell ourselves that we can't actually achieve those things that we are so capable of doing. And it may be so difficult at that point in time, but you also need to be mindful of your limits. So limits are something that you've figured out from your life experience, from your mental health, from your background. Perhaps you've been to prison. Perhaps you can't, you know, work in the industry that you want to because you have that kind of barrier. So limits are things that you look at from your boundaries, your barriers, life experience. Something might trigger you. And also if it's a relationship, you know, is there a pattern? You know, has that person been toxic? Were your limits less and now there are much more because they've actually proven to you that you need to have large barriers there to protect yourself. Because the only person that we can guarantee, you know, the actions of or the control of is ourselves. So that's something that we need to look at. What is it?
When you give me something, can I have some blue drink?
Yes, sure. Okay, off you go. I'm going to cook soon, okay? Sorry, I've lost what I'm talking about. Oh, I hate when I do that. Oh, my brain goes 100 miles a minute, and I'm always kind of looking here, there, and everywhere, and it's really difficult to try and do these videos late at night. I shouldn't have done it at this point in time, but I had a really bad headache today, so I was kind of laying down and trying to not do too much. So sorry about not doing the video earlier, guys. So limits, that's what we were discussing. Okay, so when it comes to you know, overwhelming emotions and those kinds of things, the emotional regulation will help. The problem solving strategies will help. The looking at your needs will help. The looking at your values and what is in your life right now. And all of those things are really essential to building your life in the way that you want, because it's never too late to begin that thing that you wanted to do, or that person that you wanted to be, or, you know, that goal that you wanted to look at even, or try to achieve, or just smash it out of the park and go on to the next one. And when you do that, just remember to pat yourself on the back, because it's so often in this day and age that we are rushed. We don't look at the quality of our lives, which is being mindful, which is really just accepting that what we have in our life has so many amazing positives, and what is coming into our lives we have somehow invited as well. So we need to look at why this negative person thing has come into our lives. Is it to teach us a lesson? Is it necessary? You know, or have we opened our doors to someone like that because we miss the red flags? Could we maybe do that next time? We could actually be aware of what those qualities look like in someone, what those red flags look like, and how we can not invite them in anymore. We can put boundaries up and we can say, okay, well, maybe you're not in my life anymore, or I don't want you to be, or you're an ex-partner and I have a child to you, or something like that, but I'm not going to invite you to my house. I'm going to go to the cafe to meet you, or I'm going to meet you with a friend to keep myself safe. So look at different strategies. So when I did the NVC, Nonviolent Communication workshop, they said you need to be firm with your needs, but loose with your strategies. And that is something that I feel has a massive emotional weight on people, because we look at this one strategy and we're heading forward and we're saying, oh my goodness, you know, it's not working. Nothing is ever going to work. So we catastrophize our whole life based on based on the fact that one strategy did not work. And we all know that there are many, many different ways we could go about things. For instance, last week I was walking with my daughter along the beachfront. We were having a look at the water and we were having a bit of a disagreement, and because she's been quite upset lately. And we used to listen to music. We used to walk home, we'd listen to music, and we'd have a dance. And that was our wind down, and we'd talk about our day. And because she's so stressed at the moment, we don't do that anymore. I try to push it, and I try, but she doesn't want to. So I play the music, and she screams at me. And we get into a disagreement because I say, no, we're going to be happy, we're going to do this, which is judgmental, right? That's more of a persecutor approach, as opposed to you know, something that could be an observer's approach or a mindful approach, which would be, you know, working as a team, and emotional regulation is what I ended up doing at a later date. But I talked to her about why. I said, look, I paused the music. I said, why is this a problem now? It hasn't been a problem before. Is there something else going on? And she was like, yeah, there's this and this and this and this and this. And I was like, okay. So I pieced the puzzle together and I said, so you're feeling quite angry and upset. And she said, yeah, I'm feeling angry and upset. And I was like, okay. So, and then she said, and I can't listen to music when we're outside anymore. And I said, but you listen to it at home. She said, yeah, it's different. And I was like, right. So are the noises less when we're at home? And she said, yes. And I was like, right. So do you think that normally you were able to listen to music because you weren't so stressed and overwhelmed, but now you are, and so it's too much? And she said, yeah. So we had this full discussion, and we broke it down, and we actually analyzed why. Because I was feeling like she wasn't meeting my need to have that bonding time and to prove that, you know, we love each other and everything's amazing. But in actual fact, you know, she was feeling like her need to be heard and her need to feel mad and to feel sad about things that have happened weren't happening. So it was a misunderstanding, and we weren't really working as a team, you know. And I kept saying to her, I want to be your team, and she's like, I don't want to be anyone's team. So we were butting heads, and I was matching her behavior. So we've always got to look at, in our lives, if there's hostility, are we matching that? Are we coming to where that tolerance is here, and are we flying right through there to try and beat the other person, or to show them that we're the parental figure or the person who's in control? Because when we try to control those situations with hostility, it definitely doesn't have a good result. So we've always got to try and look at maybe a more mindful approach. So to try and analyze, or emotional regulation, or NVC, nonviolent communication. So we try to address what the needs are that aren't being met, and then we try to talk to them in a way where we ask them a request. I asked her at the end, I said, can I turn the music back on? And she said no. And I said, okay. Different to a demand, which is what I always do. I demand. And I've been trying something different, because I understand that she is not in a good place. So what I want you guys to do today for exercise is, I want you guys to close your eyes or open them, whichever. I think closing them helps. So close your eyes and imagine that you are anywhere that you want to be. Now, not only are you anywhere, this is no barriers in your life. There's no plane tickets. There's no, you know, your family wants you to be there for them. There's nothing like that. You are wherever you want to be. Now, I want you to envision that. I want you to feel that environment, the smells, the sounds. You can see the animals, the wildlife, if they're there. Then I want you to imagine that you are doing what you want to do in life, that you are doing whatever you have always dreamed of doing. Now, this doesn't have to be, you know, your one dream that's out of reach, like being a singer. This can be, for me, I was in a rainforest, and I built my own little shack, and I was growing my own vegetables, and I was by myself, and it was so peaceful, and there was birds and a little stream next to me, and it was trickling, and it was so amazing. I loved it. But then when I thought about what I want to do in life, I thought, oh, that's different for me. That's not my place. That's not the place that I imagine. What I wanted to do was I wanted to go to Japan, and I wanted to teach English, to learn about different culture, to have someone hear me, to learn about a different environment, to, you know, just find that peace, you know, from the beautiful culture that they have there. So anyway, guys, I'll leave you with that, and I will finish the video now. And I really appreciate you guys joining me, and I want you guys to think more about what you want, what the solutions could possibly be, some problem solving stuff this week. If you guys have any questions, or if you have any situations you want me to help regulate, or give you some, you know, logical strategies to use, more than happy to help you. Love you guys. Have a great week, and I will see you next week.